Today's episode describes domestic violence, including physical abuse and strangulation. If you're in a situation right now where this hits too close to home, pause. Take care of yourself first. Crisis lines are in the description and at the end of this video. If you're watching and you recognize your own story and mine, stay with me. You're not alone. In video 1, I gave you the map. Evan Stark's 8 mechanisms of coercive control. The architecture of domination. Today I'm going to show you what that map looks like when you're living inside it. I'm a psychiatric nurse, 25 years of clinical experience. I specialized in trauma, complex PTSD, ADHD, and personality disorders. I taught patients how to recognize abuse patterns, and I couldn't see it when it was happening to me. It's not a failure of intelligence. That's the design working exactly as intended. I'm telling you this for 2 reasons. 1, if you're in it right now, I need you to see that even experts get trapped. There is no shame in this. 2, the pattern I lived through personally is the same pattern operating at every other scale. You'll see. I'm going to use the same framework from video 1, same cards, because it is the same architecture, just aimed at one person, me. My marriage to my ex, we'll call him Damien, not his real name, had been troubled for years. But it was gradual. He took things a little at a time. Small things that seemed reasonable at first. He wouldn't let me go out alone or talk to friends alone. My old friends, he didn't like them. They were gone. We had mutual friends. He let me have those, as long as he was there to monitor what I said to them. He said his ex had cheated on him. He needed to feel secure, he said. It sounded reasonable, but the result for me was total isolation. If I called anyone, he listened, checked my texts, my emails, my phone. And I started self-censoring everything, not because he told me to, but because I knew he was watching. I became my own prison guard, just like the framework predicts. He told me I was bad with money, and I was too busy. So he'd take over the finances for me, to help me. He told me he was a brilliant investor. I could technically check my accounts, but I had to check with him before I spent anything. He told me he was in charge of the budget. I was irresponsible and couldn't be trusted with money. And then our money kept disappearing. When I asked him, he told me to mind my own business, loudly. By COVID, I was the only one earning income. His business was defunct. But somehow, I was still the irresponsible one. I was always wrong. Nothing was ever right. If I called him out on anything, he'd say I was being cruel to him, that I'd called him names I hadn't called him. He told me I caused all the fights, when all I wanted was peace and quiet. And then I was too quiet, and then I was too talkative. The contraindications were constant, designed to keep me off balance, like I couldn't do anything right. And then he called himself the human lie detector. And he told me I wore my heart on my sleeve, which is true. And he told me I was lying even when I wasn't. I could never convince him I was telling the truth. And then I became too afraid to ever lie, even when I should have, for my own sanity and protection. I should have recognized this pattern. I had taught these exact tactics to my patients to help them. But when you're living it, especially when you're exhausted, traumatized, and barely surviving. You can't see what you're trapped in. March 2020, COVID lockdown. We're both home all the time. I was working from his old office that we converted into my workspace. And then I'm dying from COVID in the beginning, working reduced hours, but still working because we needed the money. Terrified. I was exhausted on every level, physically sick, emotionally drained, and caring for hundreds of patients while barely surviving myself. And at home, there was no rest. When I got out of that office, no safe place to recover. That's the weapon. You can't think your way out of a trap when your brain is running on fumes. And Damien is angry. Angry that I'm sick. Angry that I'm working. Angry that dinner isn't ready when he wants it. The yelling got worse. Daily. And then it became physical. Pushing, shoving, punching. He was careful. Only where it wouldn't show. On my body, never my face. I wore turtlenecks in June to hide the bruises. Nobody on my video calls could tell. And I was isolated, and I didn't trust anyone in my bubble with the truth. And then the violence escalated from March through July. I think he was doing drugs. He was a recovering alcoholic, but he got high all day. And then he'd go out for drives, he'd tell me. And the money kept disappearing. His behavior became more and more erratic. His rage, unpredictable. Each week was a little worse than the last. The boiling frog. And that line in the sand kept moving. July 2020, one night, don't even remember exactly what triggered it. He attacked me. And this time, he strangled me with rage in his eyes until I passed out. So when I came to, I knew if I don't get away from him, he is going to kill me. Not someday, soon. And strangulation is a critical data point. Research shows it's one of the strongest predictors that an abuser will kill their partner. And that was my line in the sand. Why don't you just leave? That's what people ask. If you've never been in this situation, that question seems reasonable. From the outside, the answer is obvious. Just go. But go back to the framework. Look at what the system has already done. Isolation removed my support network, and I didn't trust anyone with the truth. He told me he was like stellar reputation. Nobody would believe me out of our friends and family. Economic control removed my resources. I didn't know how I'd survive if I left. Gaslighting removed my confidence in my own perception. I thought I was just the crazy one. Exhaustion removed my ability to think strategically, just surviving day to day. Gradual escalation normalized each violation until crisis felt like the baseline. The system is designed so that by the time you need to leave, you've been stripped of everything you need to leave. And here's the statistic nobody tells you. Leaving is the most dangerous time. Most domestic violence homicides happen during or immediately after the exit. So staying isn't weakness. It's often a rational risk assessment inside a system designed to make escape look impossible. Leaving requires a breaking point, severe enough to override the risk calculation. Strangulation was mine. The day after he strangled me, I knew I had to act. The small details are slightly altered for simplicity's sake here, but the truth is here. I had a patient session scheduled. I was working, and I heard his car drive away. I reached out to a friend, told her what happened, asked her to come and help me. She showed up and she saved my life. Remember mechanism number 1, isolation? Breaking that isolation and trusting someone, that was my first act of resistance. One phone call, one person who believed me and helped me. Together, we went to the police. I mean, I didn't want to. I was absolutely terrified of what would happen. The statistics are not encouraging. In my clinical experience, I seen patients who called for help and weren't believed. Some were even arrested themselves because the abuser stays calm and the victim looks crazy and irrational because they're upset. But I went to the police anyway because I knew that strangulation changes the risk category. The police did a danger assessment. When I said strangulation, their checklist changed. Emergency restraining order issued that day, warrant for his arrest. I could go home, and my friend stayed with me. I mean, I was still terrified though. He was arrested, charged with 2 counts of assault, domestic violence, and released on bail. The trial was over a year later. He was found guilty on 1 count. No jail time. They rarely get jail time, I mean, rarely. The prosecutor discouraged me 3 times before the trial. He said, drop it, it will be really stressful for you, and he won't get jail time anyway. But I did it for the record, because documentation matters. Because the next person he does this to will have evidence that there's a pattern. And because the system that tells victims to just give up, that's permission asymmetry. Rules and consequences for us, none for them. If you're watching this and you recognize your own story, I see you. It doesn't matter if you're a professional with a degree on the wall or someone who never finished school. It doesn't matter if you're young or old, man or woman or neither. Coercive control doesn't discriminate. It targets the quality that makes you human, your need to trust. And you are not stupid for staying. You are not weak for being afraid. You are not broken for not seeing it sooner. The system is designed to be invisible from the inside. And that's not your failure. That's the architecture of the system working. And here's what I want you to know that I didn't know then. The moment you see the pattern is the moment the pattern starts to lose. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to leave today. But see it. Name it. Words have power, even if you say it to yourself. And when you're ready, reach out to just one person. Only one. That's how it starts. I reached out to one friend. She showed up, and everything changed. And you are not alone. There's so many. I feel horrible. I feel lucky I'm safe right now at home, but so many of you aren't. Even if the system has made you feel like you are alone, you're not. So that was my personal story. One person, one home, one abuser. But I told you in video 1 that this pattern scales. So in the next video, video 3, the same pattern playing out in my career now. How the healthcare system that was supposed to heal people use these same mechanisms on its own workers. Isolation, exhaustion, gaslighting, permission asymmetry. Same cards, different scale. And then in video 4, how coercive control operates at the level of society itself. Because once you can see the pattern, you see it everywhere. And you can't be controlled by it in the same way once you see it. So if you need support right now, the crisis lines are on the screen and in the description. Take care of yourself. I'll see you in the next video.